In the Football League days, the ground had somewhat better facilities for spectators than today. The club for a number of years. Can you tell me what the feelings were when the club were elected into the Football League?
Well, at the time I was rather young, but I know my dad particularly, who was a fanatic of the club, was really delighted, and I'm sure the whole town was. They thought it was a marvellous achievement.
I imagine the crowds were very large in those days.
Much larger than they are now, yes. Yes, so large at times that my mum wouldn't let me come because she thought I'd get crushed.
Were there any particularly memorable players that played for the club?
Yes, we have quite a number that lots of people will have heard of. We have Ken Furphy. He went on to Watford from here. I think he's now helping the England manager. So is Keith Birkinshaw, who was the Spurs manager. George Aitken, I think he's also a backroom boy with the England manager. Dave Butler is the physio at Spurs. That's to name but a few. I'm sure we've got a lot more.
Now, there was one particular cup match that was very memorable.
Yes, the Manchester United one. Very, very exciting game. The whole town was really delighted about what was happening. Everybody flocked down to the ground. And the game itself, I think everyone who was here will remember it. Workington scored first, winning 1-0. Superb goal by Clive Colbridge. And apparently at half-time, Matt Busby was biting his cigar rather than smoking it because he was really worried. But I think experience told in the end, and it was the last sort of 15 minutes. And I think it was Dennis Violet scored a hat-trick. But some superb players on that day.
And there was a particularly poignant moment in that respect, wasn't there, as that cup game turned out?
Yes, that's right. The last FA Cup game that particular team played in England. And then the Munich air crash happened about a month later. A lot of those players were killed.
"14 years earlier, Joan had expressed optimism for the future.
Well, I think that I've been coming for so long now that, well, as I once said, all roads lead to Borough Park on Saturday afternoons. For me, anyway, I sort of automatically arrive here, you know.
You formed the supporters club 3 years ago.
Yes.
How many members have you got, and are they all from Workington?
We have about 150 this season, and about 20% of those are from other places, not local at all. And we have a few from Sweden and a few from Finland.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Why
I'm
is
very
it
proud of that.
Why is it that they fancy Workington so much?
Well, I'm not really sure. They're just interested in English football and they've picked out Workington. And they send in and ask to be members and like a little bit of information about the players and how we're getting on and so on.
Do you really enjoy the games yourself, even when Workington are losing?
Yes. Yes.
Have you ever said, I'm not ever going to come back?
Never. No. I always come back. I wouldn't ever miss.
Have you ever left before the end of a game when you've been really in despair?
No. I've often thought, you know, well, there are people going out, but I really couldn't leave before the end of the game. I've got to wait until the final whistle. See every minute of it. Couldn't leave at all.
When the leading First Division clubs play, they take thousands of supporters with them. About how many go along with you to an away game? Let's say to Torquay or somewhere like that.
Yes. Oh, when we went to Torquay, there were only 3 of us. But at some of the other games, we have taken coach trips. At Aldershot last week, a lot of the younger fans got their own coach up, and there was a coach load as well as a car load as well.
Do you think you'll be supporting league football at Workington next season?
Yes. I hope so.
Will you be terribly disappointed if Workington go out?
Very. Yes. There'll be a whole slice of my life going. I'll still support them even if they're non-league, but I just can't imagine them not being in the league. I just won't give in, you know, until that vote comes through. As far as I'm concerned, with a league club, and we're going to stay one.
For the match on the 14th of May, the last home game of the 1976-77 season. The keen young fans arrived early for the match and voiced their support for the struggling club.
Two teams in Cumbria, isn't there? Carlisle isn't doing so well.
Carlisle are good for now.
Aye. And you've got Workington, so well, you might as well support your own, give your team a bit of support that's on your own doorstep and down to Carlisle.
I mean, do you feel really sick when Workington lose?
Oh, some folk just, you know, Workington's like a joke when sometimes you can hear them walk on buses like, see if Ed's got beat again and they start laughing. Well, they shouldn't start laughing, they should come down and give them some support.
Should they? That's why they're going out the league.
Because
well,
my father used to be
want some support to fetch the money in. Nobody will follow them.
My father used to come down here when, you know, when he just got married. He used to come down here and see Man United, and I've still got programming here.
Good luck, John. Good luck, Lee. Good ball. Get up, John.
Martin! Talk! Talk together!
Get back, John out.
Mrs. Laurie, there seems to be a fair bit of cash floating about on the table.
I hope there is.
What do you reckon today's gate money will fetch about?
Maybe between what? If we're lucky, maybe £400. If we're not lucky, 300.
What have you been averaging this season?
Gates are about 1,000 to 1,200.
Has that been the poorest season that you can remember?
Yeah, well, towards the end of the season, when you're not doing so well, you find your gate drops. Of course, there's no interest now. There's nothing to lose and nothing to gain. But if you're winning, your gate increases. I like to follow a winning team, which is natural.
Do you ever leave the office and watch the match when it's in progress?
Not in your life, no. I used to, but now I bite my nails. So, and actually, we do the gate money after half-time, so we can't get away.
So despite the noise and the excitement outside, you remain nice and cool
Well, I
in
can
here?
tell you who scored the goal, I can tell you that. I can tell you when the opposition scored and when the home side scored. I know the difference.
Well, do you know what the score is right now?
Yes, it's 1-0, we're 1-0 down. We heard it before, just a little cheer.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Number 3 that day was Ken Wallace. 26 years earlier, his father, also named Ken, played in the Reds' first league match. But this encounter, which remained with a 1-0 scoreline to Newport, was destined to become the last Football League home game for the Reds. 3 days later, the last match was lost, also against Newport, and within a few weeks, they had been voted out of the league. And so the league career of Workington, that had spanned from 1951 to 1977, came to an end.